Welcome back to another episode of Filmmaker Reacts, where today we're going to be looking at episode 3 of Escape From Tarkov's Raid. So get comfortable and let's get right into it. So when we last left off, they were in the building trying to fight it out with the scavs, and then the USEC rushed them from behind too. And then the outside group came in. So now all of them should be inside. It was after the fight. You got the Dutch angle going on here. Every time you see a tilted angle like that, that's a Dutch angle. And it's used to create a sense of unease and paranoia. Which, you know, for the circumstance that they're in right now, is pretty great. So he's found the helmet cam here.
Что за хуйню ты там смотришь? Глянь, там есть файлы за понедельник. Так.
So there's this footage from what happened before, from the USEC side.
Смотри.
So that's like a GoPro on his helmet or something. Pretty common actually. You see a lot of real life soldier footage with like GoPros on their helmets and stuff. Or similar cameras. Action cameras generally.
Захуярили сотрудники Теревской лаборатории. Заебись у них работенка. А вот и цель нашей первой группы.
So it's kind of a decent way to establish like what happened to the previous group and like the environment, but like there's not much to comment about it. It's just normal, you know. It's good. It's not bad. It's just very, very like straight to the point. So I'm guessing that's the... There you go, that's his team. Yeah.
Это что, моряк? Мой старший.
It kind of gives you an understanding of what the other side is like too, you know. Because like I said in the first episode, they don't ever let you hear or see the USEC until now, where this is the first time you really heard them speaking. So you gotta go home now, basically. Your team's dead, your mission's over. Boys that died are dead. This part, I don't like this part. Let me just pause that right here. I don't like this part. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the game Spec Ops: The Line. By the way, incredible game. If you can, it's cheap. It's kind of old now. It is worth every single penny. But something similar to this happens, where the mission protocol and like the mission objective was completely different to what they end up doing, and it just gets them into a lot of crap because of it. Over here, I understand that he's getting upset, that he's getting mad. By the way, this has nothing to do with a filmmaking perspective of things. This is just kind of a logical perspective on things. He's getting upset, you know, he wants to avenge the fallen brothers and his former squad mates. But the reality of the matter is that doesn't actually make a difference at this point. If you know that they have the objective, you know, the bag, and that your team is dead, it's a lot better to extract and come back with more force, with backup, you know, with a better planning, instead of just trying to go for, oh, we're gonna go hit them hard. That's not gonna end up well. That's not a planned assault. Again, I'm a civilian. I'm not a soldier, but anybody I feel like can sort of gather that just by thinking. You wouldn't want to go into something you weren't prepared for. You're already 2 men down. You're already, you know, probably very low on ammo. Some of you are wounded. Extract, come back another day with more forces, with better gear, with more preparation, instead of kind of becoming emotional and just going for it. You'd expect somebody who is a PMC operator, who is presumably ex-Spetsnaz or whatever, to not be that impulsive, you know, and not risk all these other people because of the previously dead. Because all these guys right now could be the next one that's gonna die. Anyway, let's move on. Like, I get it on an emotional basis, but whatever.
Давай, вольному волю.
They've got to pay, but they don't have to pay today. It's not like if you leave Tarkov now, you'll never come back. You carry out operations there all the time. It's your home anyway. The USEC are the tourists, so to speak. So like, now you're gonna go assault a building complex. A building complex, not even a single building, on your own. Is it badass? Yes. But is it stupid? Yes. And I know that if somebody in the comments is gonna be like, well, you weren't there, so you don't know. It was hell. But like, that's true. I've never been in a situation like this, but just, these guys are way more experienced than I am, and probably even the regular, like, you know, grunt is. So, really, they shouldn't be doing this. It makes no sense. It's not like their life is in danger. It's not like they can rescue anybody anymore. So we have that montage. Sorry, I'm sorry. I got so like caught up in that. Let's just go back and take a look at that montage really quickly. So you had a little bit of narration here. Talking about like, this is the sketchiest place in Tarkov. Very dramatic, inspiring, uplifting music. So you got Skiff, and he's kind of like narrating. Narration is sometimes a taboo in filmmaking because you shouldn't really need it. But I don't mind it here. I don't think it's very jarring or immersion breaking. It's just what it is, you know. So you have them preparing now. Music cuts to the beat, like, bam. Wait. If you listen to the beat of the music, you'll see that the actual video cuts to it, see, with every impact, which is a very great technique. It's a common technique, one that a lot of beginning editors forget, but you should always try, if possible, for maximum effect, to cut on audio cues, whether that be music or Foley sounds or practical sounds like diegetic sounds on screen. Diegetic means on screen, non-diegetic means sounds that were added later to seem like they're on screen, and also just music and shit. You know, we get a lot of, again, foreground and depth. There's no slow motion, which I'm kind of curious about. I guess they couldn't do it, or they just decided against it. Usually these things are filled with slow-mo, but I'm glad that it wasn't. Cut. Okay. You remember in the previous episode, I made a complaint about how when they were going from the exterior to the interior, there was a fade for no reason before it cut inside. So they were outside looking at the building, and then it faded from them looking at the building to the building, like the exterior. And then it cut inside. Here they don't do that, and I'm so glad that they don't. This is so much more effective. Even if you have to somehow connect the scenes, cutting to black and then back is so much more effective. Just straight up cutting to the next scene is just as effective, but that sometimes fading like that is pointless. Episode 2's transition there. I know some of you guys were saying that, you know, it didn't feel jarring to you, but on an editing perspective, if on a purely objective based way of looking at it, if I was sitting here right now looking out the window and I wanted to show out the window again from like over my shoulder and I made a fade there, unless there was an absolute like reason to like, you know, maybe put you in this stage that I'm in thought or whatever, don't do that unless there is an absolute reason. And that's the thing, it wasn't terribly jarring in episode 2, but it didn't have a reason. Over here, this is so much impactful. Like, I mean, look at this. We're gonna go back and watch it again. Like, this cut is so much better. This transition from exterior to them now going in for the assault is so much better. I mean, the music helps, but still, again, a lot of foreground. See? That's so much better. Again, a lot of shaky cameraman freaking barely even holding on to the camera there. All adding for effect. It's that feeling of movement, you know. Because they could have easily put the camera on a stabilizer or a steady cam or a gimbal, like an electronic gimbal. But they chose not. And it's not like they didn't have the budget for it. They 100% did. I mean, shoot, I have gimbals in my house. And I don't have this kind of budget. And I just, you know. And most of the time. Oh, okay, that was cool. So it kind of goes up to show the hand sign. I love that. I love it. It's kind of like a documentary style of shoot. Where there's like one cameraman trying to capture everything. Almost like a war documentary. Real cool. Who's that? It's like above you. What the heck? I think they killed him. Yeah, they killed him. Dang, that was a good shot then. See, again, immediately, at this point, I would think pull out. You just lost your third man. And you don't have an objective in there anymore. I'm sorry, I don't want to keep getting distracted by that, but it's just very annoying to me whenever, like, illogical things happen. Because that is a thing in the script writing. You know, I mean, is it possible that somebody would have done this? Yeah, but, like, it's like a horror movie where you see them doing things and you're like, why are you doing that? You know?
Whose gun is that? Captain Price's. Who's Price?
Captain Price!
What's wrong with him? That's what I look that way.
Man. Obviously, Modern Warfare, Captain Price, Call of Duty. His pistol. There's a bunch of gun references. Ooh. Very cool. Again, this is the first time we're getting a humanized version of USEC. Ooh. Bang. Oh, his back. A lot of practical explosions going on here. Is that guy alive? Yeah, he was alive still. Ooh, that was so cool. The stunt team on this thing are fucking fantastic. Oh yeah, that usually the way that stuff works is like obviously they don't barge through a real like proper door, so like the door wouldn't have had hinges. If you look closely, you'll see that the light pouring through it, you can see that the hinges are like loose. Like you see, there's no real hinges on it, so he can just kind of smash through it. Obviously, a lot of this stuff. That's not a bad thing, by the way. Where they're gonna have the guy actually run through like a fucking oak wood door. You know, it's not a bad thing. Sorry, I'm swearing so much in this episode, but I mean, they're swearing in the thing anyway, so whatever. Man, that guy's back would be messed if it wasn't for his plate carrier. Ooh, that's really cool. We're getting explosions after shot, like we're getting like debris from the gunshots hitting the wall in the camera. So that's pretty great, actually. And I did, by the way, look at a little bit of the behind the scenes of it. I watched the one by I'm Monster, the YouTube channel, and I watched the longer version, but the translation subtitles is so pathetically bad. I could not understand anything that was being said. So if there's any Russian friends that in the comments, let me know if anybody's interested to help me kind of go through that video with me and translate it roughly to me. I would love to do that because in the behind the scenes you see a lot of how this stuff was done, like with the gunshots hitting the impacts. I was expecting a lot more of them to not be practical, but quite a lot of them were practicals. So they would have like little almost like fireworks style cannons that would just kind of go off, or like implants into the walls that would just explode, and it's really, really cool. Obviously, if I can't get that video translated over, I'm just going to react to the bits that are just visual that don't need a translation, but it would be really, really cool to get somebody that can help me with that. If you're interested, let me know in the comments below. I would love to collaborate with somebody on that. That'd be great. But either way, I'm gonna also cover that after episode 4. See, look at this. Boom. So they're firing blanks or something. What's interesting about it is if it is blanks, let me know in the comments below. Do blank rounds, is the powder load enough for the gun to cycle? I know they use some kind of like fake ammunition in like a lot of movies and everything, but usually those don't have this kind of a flash, like a muzzle flash. So I don't know what this could be exactly, but usually they don't have this big of a muzzle flash. Really good. Just got his hand shot off, didn't he? A lot of shaky cam. Again, breaking the 180-degree rule a lot. Ooh. I don't like that one bit. Ooh, good job. Kick it down! He took for... His own teammate was under there, and he just rolled it to him. And oh, poor dude. This is why I said they shouldn't go in there. There was no plan. They didn't know what they were getting into. And kind of their coordination's all over the place because of that. So that poor dude, he's running downstairs to avoid getting shot at. His own friend rolls down a grenade to him. I mean, it's fucking great. But, you know, it can happen, and it's stuff like you wouldn't even think about. But it could happen. But, you know, better coordination. If they had gone back and, like, been able to plan, this probably would have never occurred. But I guess if everything went to a plan, we wouldn't have this whole, like, episodic thing going on. They'd be over at episode 2, right? Well, maybe not. Great frag, by the way. You're getting a lot of reloading. Again, we're kind of showing everything from the stairs at the top. So basically we kind of are anchored in to one place, which makes it easier for us to keep track of all the action in this chaos, especially because they break the 180-degree rule quite a lot. Whenever we see anything, it tends to be from the perspective of the two guys that are shooting at the very top. So like we see this guy right now from above, like the way they would see him if they were to look down onto him. I'm surprised he's alive, by the way. So red means they're out, right? Like out of ammo. Oh shit. That's like their 4th man down right now. Not counting the guy who's been grenaded down there. But he's still alive. And he's the one who's got the grenade on him. He had the F1 grenade on him. I'm guessing this is supposed to be the factory map, or kind of something similar to it. Like, I don't understand why they're still pushing at this point, really. This kind of reminds me a lot of Saving Private Ryan's action sequences where there's a ton going on. The color... Ooh. I don't know why Alex ran. But even the coloration is similar. Oh, Alex is still alive? Not anymore. Ooh. I love all the dust and everything. Ooh, dang. But I don't know what the plan is here, because in a minute from now, any minute from now, USEC reinforcements could arrive from behind them. Then what are you gonna do? Oh, fifth man down. Oh, he's dead as hell. Oh, that was real nice. That was real nice. That was great choreography. Oh my god. Fucking sixth guy down. And the way some of them just drop, by the way, this is gonna sound really dark and really grim. And I don't mean it to. It's just as a reference to the realism of this stuff. The way some of them just drop like they just turned, like somebody hit a off switch in their head, that is fucking accurate to a T. I would never want anybody to see that, but if you have seen like shooting videos and police incident videos and stuff like that, like I have, which again, if you're here, you probably have, don't watch it. It's messed up, but they really did get that right. Like, it's so crazy how sometimes people can take shots and get hit and take a grenade like that guy and kind of walk it off, and how other times just a simple thing, if it hits just the right place, just boom, you're dead immediately. Like, you collapse. Like, it's not even like, oh, you fall. It's like your knees just cave in under you, you drop. Exactly like that. It's fucked up, but they done their research. I think there was another grenade just thrown there. Oh no, there wasn't. Oh yeah, no, there was. Ooh. Damn. Yeah, it was inevitable. I mean, you're getting the kind of slow-mo here that isn't really proper slow motion. So the way slow motion works, by the way, if you want to make something... Film, like cinema, generally is at 20... Well, almost always is at 24 frames per second. When you go to a movie, when you're watching a movie at home or anything like that, it's at 24 frames per second. That's the standard for movies, right? To get slow motion, you have to shoot at a faster frame rate. So if you shoot at 50 frames per second, for example, you now have the ability to slow that down to half the speed. So whatever actions are happening, you can almost half it down at 24. If you're shooting at 60, you get a little bit more, 120, even more. Generally, most kind of like common slow motions that are done, and if you see like travel videos and like commercials and stuff like that, like the more dreamy feel, that's usually 60 frames that's being played back at 24. So it's not terribly slow, but it's just slow enough for everything to feel kind of wavy. 120 frames per second is another very common frame rate to shoot at. When you drop that down to 24, or you play that at 24, that can usually be pretty slow. That's kind of what people use for a lot of sports videos and, you know, workout videos and stuff. That really needs to be slow to see everything. And you kind of go up from there. If you ever seen the channel Slow-Mo Guys, they shoot at like 1,000 frames on that Phantom camera or something like that. So whenever you see that, like, you can see a bullet travel literally. But that's how slow motion works. You shoot faster, so you shoot more frames every second. And then when you slow that down, it plays back slower. So over here, it seems like they've opted not to do that, or they weren't able to do that. It makes some story sense as to why they wouldn't, because this is kind of like a fake slow-mo. So like, it's almost like it was shot at 24, and then they tried to slow that down, so you now get this little choppiness going on. I'm sure if anybody's tried to like do slow motion without shooting at a higher frame rate, they've kind of seen that and been like, huh, I wonder why that's the case. Well, that's why that is. This could be on purpose, because the grenade concussion could be like a representation of that, which absolutely could be. They did that in the first episode too. But it also could be that their camera wasn't able to shoot at that frame rate. And I don't know. I don't know what camera they were using. And again, it doesn't really matter. It still gets the job done. In fact, if you don't have the gear to do it correctly, then give it a story reason as to why. And they've done that over here perfectly. So now we're getting the more somber music, just seeing the aftermath, and now you gotta fade out to black, which makes perfect sense. And now you're seeing all the people almost like, you know, in the memory of these people, the fallen. Which didn't need to fall, Skiff. Could have lived, Skiff. Very good. So far, this has been my absolute favorite episode so far. Very, very good. Anton Rosenberg. Very good job. What an episode. This has to be my absolute favorite one of the 3 so far. I had a lot of gripes with it, but those were all to do with like the characters' logics. In terms of filmmaking, I didn't have a lot to comment on really because it was pretty great. And a lot of the techniques that were used here, I already had talked about in the previous episodes 1 and 2. And they were kind of just carried on over, so I didn't want to keep repeating myself like a broken record. But what a banger of an episode this one was. The whole fight sequence, especially the part in the changing rooms, was fantastic. Like, it was absolutely great. Again, I have my gripes with it on a logical reason. The characters did things that they shouldn't have done. But like in terms of just pure filmmaking, if you just ignore the kind of the characters, how they were, you know, written to act, so to speak, I just feel like that's my only gripe. But everything else was great. This was such a perfect episode to me. I don't know how episode 4 is going to top it all off. This was absolutely fantastic. I hope it can top it all off, but I really love this one. Like, I want to go back and watch this one again without having to comment on it now so that I can just enjoy it. But anyway, thank you guys for watching this far. If you have any videos that you want me to cover, put that in the comments below or DM me at Twitter at ry.royce. And again, if there's any Russian friends out there who would like to help me cover the behind the scenes, don't hesitate, drop it down there. If you have any thoughts on the episode, and what do you think about like the character's kind of decision, or Skiff's specifically decision to basically get everybody killed for no real reason? Let me know that in the comments below, and subscribe. Until next time, stay creative.